Hey guys, back again. So let's try to finish this thing right now. Okay. Well, I was inspecting the code and the application, and I want to tell you a few things. Okay. So first of all, inside out controller, this is super secret password. Okay. Remember that we're just using the string there instead of an environment variable. So you can see how that is working. You can change that later. But the thing is that I had this as super secret word. So you will need to change that to super secret password. Okay. Remember that all this needs to match with the rest of the you know the passwords, the secrets that you have. Okay. So everywhere you're using that, you just need to change it to be equal to the to whatever word you're adding inside your signed, okay, on the JSON Web Token. So you need to make sure that all those match. So okay, that's one. So the thing is that you might have noticed something. Okay, so right now I log in back again. So we are able to do everything. Okay, so I'm logging with the first account, the Alokawa. So if I go to John Doe, I don't see anything. Okay, that works fine. The thing is that once the token is, let me just check if I have set an expiration to that. Expires in 2 hours. Once that token has expired and you come back, okay, you come back to the application. If you inspect the state.json, you will see that you still have this thing, okay? So that still is existing in this state. But what will happen if you click one and do your stuff? Once it checks using the verify, we just come back. Okay. Once it checks, let me just go to the token handler using the verify. It's going to check and say, okay, that token is expired. So we're going to redirect to our login. Okay. Even though you can also here save, can also save the page to, let's say, a local storage in the browser or in a rest locals, and then redirect or add some kind of function to redirect the user back to where he was, where she was. Okay, so after we do this, we will need to add another. Let me just go to my routes. Another middleware. Sorry, I forgot the word. In order to do that, we just set this as an array and we add a comma and do the stuff. Okay. So that is if you want to redirect the user back. So you will need to save that somewhere, and then after you log in, let me just go to the out controller. After you log in, let me just go back to login and do all the stuff, do the bcrypt and all that. Instead of redirecting right away, you can say if my redirect variable is not equals to empty, maybe. So remember, you will need to set that inside the index Okay, I didn't want to do that. Okay, inside the index response that locals that redirect, something like that. Okay, and you will set that to empty, and then um, add values and remove values to that as you see needed. So you will need to check the redirect here and say, okay, we are empty, meaning the user was directly from the login, maybe, or we didn't set that value for some reason. Okay, I know it's a little confusing, but you will need to think about this because I will not do it mostly because I don't have the time to do all this. Okay, so if you redirect, if you don't have anything on that value, just redirect to the main route. But if the user maybe was already on post and um, or he was performing an action and you want to redirect back to the create, then you can just say, okay, you know what, return the user to the create or to whatever is in the response locals. Okay, so that is a way to do that. Of course, maybe one or two things might need to be changed here. Okay, I did fuck that up, but that's a way to do it. So you can try here to try to redirect the user back in this place. Okay, to where she was, something like that. So you kind of get the idea there. And so the main point that I was trying to explain before doing all that is that when you do something here and you click or update or anything that requires the token, we didn't add that to the update, right? Okay, we need to add this to the post. Although we still are not able to see that because we need a token in order to see that, the user to be the same, sorry. But you can just add that there. Okay, fine tune all application, a fix where any breach that you see, and you can do all those changes. So again, the main thing was because if the token is invalid, it's only going to trigger the verify when we do something that requires that verify. Okay, so if we go back here and the token is invalid, the 2 hours has passed and the token is invalid, here we're not asking for the token. Okay, so one way to do that without all the verify, because what is going to happen is that we're going to be able to verify using the verify option from the verify method from the JWT token. Let me see if I can find that. See the token handlers. Okay, so this verify will trigger the error if the token is expired and it's not valid or anything like that. So we are going to redirect. In case we don't want to redirect or we don't want to do we don't want to deal with the verified at this point because you know maybe we don't want to tell the user that he's not able to reach that a page, okay, without the token. So one thing that you can do, and this should work, is that because I don't want to. Let me go to routes again. I don't want to add the token the token handle middleware here inside the get because that is going to restrict the user and he will need to authenticate. Okay, so let me just go. Okay, so what we can do here is save the decoded value. Let me show you what this is. Coded, and this is only going to trigger when we. Okay, let me just check something. I've been working with this. Okay, that is not going to work because I'm not going to create anything right now. So this is the decoded, okay? If we do console.log and say decoded, it's going to return us the values or the stuff inside the token. So you can see it's going to return us the user. I can't remember what the hell is this, but the expiration, okay? It's going to return us the expiration date or time. So what we can do is just add a new controller, a new middleware, sorry my wording, a new middleware, just like we did with this, and check, let me just show you, and check, do a single or simple checking to see if the expiration date is, no, you can use also date and they explain something like that, because we don't want to use verify and try to, because verify needs the JSON Web Token, we need the key. And if we just want to do some single checking and say, hey, your expiration, I mean, your alert something or do something, hey, your key expired, your credentials, log in if you want to continue, whatever you're doing. So we can use that approach, saving that into a cookie or into something that we can read without the JSON Web Token verify, and just add a new middleware and add my maybe check token X expiration middleware, and do the checking of the date, checking if we are on that date, or maybe set a time and check if that time has passed. Okay, I'm not sure if we can use moment.js with Node.js. Maybe we can, and we can just store that and verify. All this is because we are using JSON Web Token inside the application. Okay, so there's a robust or a more robust approach that is passport. Okay, with I think it uses JSON Web Token too. I can't remember, but that's the best thing to do, or express a JSON Web Token. So we need to deal with all this because most of the times, if not all, you will not be using JSON Web Token to do this kind of applications. You will use JSON Web Token in order to handle your APIs. Okay, so you will receive a token or you will send a token. Well, you will do both actually, and you will verify that token and then do whatever you need to do and respond to the client, being Angular, React, or anything else. Okay, or Vue or whatever. So that is way easier to check. You will only need to refresh the token and delete it, but that token will come from another place, and usually Angular, React, or Vue will store that inside the cache, inside the cookie. Okay, and you will see that also when we go to Next.js, Nux, and Angular SSR. So that's the approach to. So we're trying to emulate kind of the mix of those two inside this application, so you understand better when we go back and when we check the client and APIs with JSON Web Token, how that is working. Okay, so but anyways, this is going to show you how you can try to pinpoint all these details. So right now, what you only need to do if you want to check and tell the user, you don't have the token or your token expired, is find a way to check if the 2 hour has passed, or check if the date we are is not matching the date the token has. Okay, so let me just check something. Let me just move this one out of the way, and let me just check something because I want to see something. is Unix time epoch converter. So we should be able to copy all this, enter, convert. Okay, so this is what you will need to do. You will need, this is set in a Unix, I forgot the freaking thing. Well, this is Unix, okay? So the date we got from the console. So all this is for you not to be stuck in this kind of what the hell I need to do now. Okay. So if you want to implement all this, just rewatch this video and try to understand whatever I'm trying to say. So this is the expiration date, and you will see that it says, okay, okay, it says sometime GMT, the time, and you will need to check how that is handling. Okay, but this is a way, or you can verify what the token is saying or what the expiration date is, and try to figure out how to just check if we are past that time. Okay, so that is something that you can do, or just save that. Well, you can just save that in the cookie and verify it later. But you kind of understand what I'm saying. If you want to check that without using the verified from the JSON Web Token, you can just save your date, convert it, okay? Find a way to convert it because this is using the Unix timestamp, okay? And you will receive a date and say, okay, are we past that date? And just return true or false depending on that. And that should be all that you need to do. It sounds complicated, and in a way is a little complicated, but that's mostly what you can do with all this. So you can also check this post, JSON Web Token, check if a token expired, so you can get some more ideas. And you can see someone is using JSON Web. No, I mean using local storage. I saw something with local storage over there. Okay, and you can save that. Check the date, and that's the only thing you need to do. They're checking the date here also. So that is the thing that you can do if you don't want to use verify and neglect the user to go to home because he doesn't have the token valid, or the valid token. So yeah, that's a little explanation that I wanted to say because that is something that you might want to implement, but you might not know how. So what I'm going to do now is go to views, create a new one, and say dashboard. That book. I'm going to copy all these guys. Sorry about that. Maybe you will not want to. You will not want me to copy all this stuff, but this is something that we have. Well, we haven't done this too much, anyways. But this is just book, and this is how I want my template to look. So if I go to post and say my dashboard, am I on the correct one? Oh, Sequelize, yeah. Okay, because I'm not doing the redirecting to that. I'm not rendering that. I'm just saying response that send. So say response that render dashboard. That should work. Okay, let me go to dashboard again. What the hell? Do I need to set the... Okay. I need to say this. this not working or what? Where the hell is this? Okay, that restarted, okay. And says, okay, property length of undefined, because we don't have that still, but the template should work. So let's go to show dashboard. I think that's the one. Let me just go to, and that is out, our controller, sorry. Okay, yeah, and let's just do this. Just comment this one out. And we want to show some stuff in the dashboard. So we're going to say models that user, the same thing we have been doing. Find one in this case. What we're going to find here, we can say where email, and I didn't change that on my other code, but we can just use, let me just, okay, that is pinned. User email inside the token, no, sorry, the storage that user that email, and we need to, okay, we need a comma here. We need to include, and also remember that we have also the email inside the token. So that's another thing that you can do. Let me just scroll all the way up. Okay, you can see we have the user there on the token. So we can store that inside a cookie or inside whatever we want, inside a file here, whatever, and just retrieve whatever information we want from the token. Okay, we're not adding any, we are not adding any clauses to that, but we can just use the token, you know, verify the token, decode it, and show the stuff as we are doing on here. Okay, remember that the decoded is the stuff that we are looking here. Okay, this object. So I think you can get the idea from there. But I'm just going to use the storage user email, which is my set JSON. Okay, and we can include here the object with the model, and what we want to include, which is the posts models that post. Okay, and here we can say then. Remember that you can change also this into async await as we did before. Response that render, and we want to render here the dashboard, and we want to pass the data being the user and user data values. Why did I okay, because it's not like this, it's user data values, and catch error. We can just send this response that status that 500, something like that, and you can just do something like this, redirect, or the render of the dashboard again. Let's just leave it like that. There's not too much point on doing all this right now, because you already have a reference of this same stuff on the other parts. And if you want to check how to do async await, you can go to post controller and verify the last one, that is the lead post, how we are doing the async and how we are awaiting, and here how we are dealing with the values that we are returning. Okay, so that's it for that, and we can just check to see if this is going to. Okay, cannot read property email of undefined. Okay, cannot read property email of undefined. Just check. Just do something. Seems that it's not able to read that. Console.log. Give me this one. Scroll all the way down. And let's just go back here. Refresh. It's not giving me that. Just move all this. Not read property. Show dashboard. A controller 139. A controller is this one. Storage. Let's say storage. And let's do something like this. Just hit enter there. Okay, it says an error. I do see. Oh, because it's a state. Just do a quick one. No, I'm using set state. Okay, then maybe this is not a storage. Oh no, you know what? That should be storage. And we should be able to access a state from there. Let's do all this. So we can just, okay, it's refreshing. Okay, and you can see it's showing the token and the user. Okay, we're saving the token and the user there. So we can now do something like what we wanted. We need to use that in order to get the user storage that state that user that email, and that should be it, hopefully. And you can see I have my icon here. Okay, my email, this is my dashboard. I have the post that I have created. You can see I only see 4, even though if I go to home I see 5. Okay, because I don't have this one, this is not mine. So okay, I don't need to show you anything from here. So yeah, we're using the storage, the state, and checking the user email. There are several ways that you can just check this. Okay, so but the main thing with this application, this should be it. And I wanted to check the sessions with Express, but I don't think that will be needed because, as I said before, with JWT token, usually you will not do all this kind of application. So the idea of this application is to do a mix. Okay, I'm going to repeat myself here, I know, to do a mix of the a client and some API out there. Okay, even though we're not returning JSON or anything like that, this is something similar to what Angular, Vue, or React or whatever are going to deal with the token. Okay, so we will need to grab that token and save it somewhere, usually in a cookie or in local storage, and we will need to send that. And with the API, we will need to check on the routes if that token that we are receiving from the client is valid or not, and we just grant access depending of that. You know, if the token is valid, then we just let the application move or do whatever to the next thing. okay, whatever it needs to do. And if that is not, instead of redirecting, we can just return a JSON response, meaning or saying, hey, your token is expired, okay, or you don't have the credentials or unauthorized or something like that. So, but as always, I try to give it a little twist and building an application, okay, with all these things in mind. But don't worry, we're going to build something with passport, something really, really quick later. Maybe just, 2, 3 videos and just copying and pasting. But maybe one video of 40, 50 minutes with all the passport and JSON and Express sessions. That's going to be the way that you can do that. This application, usually Node.js, what you're going to do with Node.js is just set the API. And the easy thing to change this API is just forget about all this, go to your routes and stop doing the render, okay? You will need to also remove this show login and everything that is doing a render. And instead of a render, you're not going to render a page. You're going to respond with a JSON response, okay? A JSON object that the client can work with, okay? So all the processing that we are doing here inside the book template is the same processing that the client, the front end, Angular, React, Vue is going to do, okay? But I hope that with this mixed project, you kind of understood how we're allowing or disallowing some things with the JSON Web Token, that we need a place to store the JSON Web Token, how we are retrieving the Sequelize objects, and how we're using the models, and how we can verify, just go back here, the token, what we might need to do in order to tell the user if a token, or tell the browser so he can react if a token is valid or not, where we can save that, and how we can check the timestamp, what is the decoded, okay, so how we can retrieve the values inside the JSON Web Token, and just how we can neglect the user the ability to move freely through the application using the verify option of the JSON Web Token. So we kind of did a ton of stuff. Maybe you didn't grab most of that, but at least you now have the basics, and you will be able to implement using all these references to implement. We didn't do the CSS for this, it doesn't matter. So you will get the idea how to implement all this, and it's something similar if we want to do, if we want to use sorry passport, but you will see that later. So I really hope this project had helped you a bit on whatever you're trying to do. So might not be the best project, and I'm aware of that. Seems I didn't think this through that that good. But hopefully with all this you can grab pieces of the code and use it on your projects. So again, we're not going to move this to Express sessions. It's better to use it with Passport, so we will do that in another video, in another tutorial, or another course. So this is the last thing, okay, we needed to do, the dashboard, and I think that's all for this project. And just wait for the passport stuff, that I should be able to grab something, at least to show you how to log in and use the sessions with that, so you can just implement it with what we currently have on this application, which is going to be actually the same. Just the difference will be the way we're authenticating the user because we will need to use the login from passport somewhere around here, and we will need to implement the local strategy from passport, and we will need to add the express session so we can just keep track of everything is going on, and that is going to be it. So it's not going to change anything we have, except maybe for the handler. But you never know when you will need a reference of all this, in the future. So again, thanks guys, and see you in the next one.